Have you ever wondered how to set up a one-person, one-year food storage supply? Welcome to Reliable Prepper, where we guide you through the essentials of preparing for the unexpected. Today we're diving into the world of long-term food storage, a crucial aspect of preparedness that can be a lifesaver in times of crisis. We'll be covering everything from the types of pantries you can set up, the kinds of food to buy, where to buy them, and how to store them properly for maximum shelf life. We'll also touch on important considerations like calorie needs and food rotation. The goal here is to empower you with the knowledge and resources you need to build a food supply that can last you a whole year and beyond. Getting started may seem overwhelming, but remember, it's okay to move at your own pace. So, buckle up and let's get started on this journey to self-reliance. First off, there are two types of long-term food storage pantries that you should be aware of. The first one is a working pantry. This is the pantry you'll dip into on a regular basis, rotating its contents constantly. It operates on the principle of eat what you store and store what you eat. This ensures that nothing goes to waste and you're always familiar with what you have on hand. The second type is a long-term pantry. This is where you'll store food items that can be kept for a lengthy period of time, anywhere from 5 to 25 years. This pantry is your insurance against emergencies and unforeseen circumstances. It's like a time capsule, but one filled with sustenance instead of mementos. Regardless of the type of pantry you choose, the principles we discussed today will apply. So, let's get started with the basics. Next, let's talk about calorie needs. Understanding how many calories you need to consume daily is crucial when planning your long-term food storage. The general rule of thumb is approximately 2,200 calories per person per day. However, this is not a one-size-fits-all number. Factors such as gender, age, weight, and activity level can significantly affect calorie needs. For instance, a young active male might require more calories than an elderly sedentary woman. Similarly, if you're in a situation where you're doing a lot of physical work, like chopping wood or rebuilding, you'll likely need more calories than if you're in a less active scenario. Now let's talk numbers. To meet the daily calorie requirements, your target should be around 800 and 3,000 calories per year. That's the product of 2,200 calories and 365 days. Breaking this down into monthly food requirements, you'd need about 66 pounds of grain, 20 pounds of beans, 0.83 quarts, or roughly 24 ounces of oil. You'd also need 10 pounds of sweetener, 2/3 pounds of salt, and 4 pounds of milk. These numbers might seem daunting, but remember, you don't have to get everything at once. Gradual accumulation is key. Start with what you can and build from there. Also, keep in mind the importance of variety. Having a mix of different food items not only ensures a balanced diet, but also prevents food fatigue, which can occur if you eat the same thing day in and day out. Lastly, remember that these are rough estimates. Everyone's needs and tastes are different. You may need to adjust these numbers based on your dietary restrictions, preferences, and the specific circumstances you're preparing for. In the next section, we'll dive into the specific foods you should consider for your long-term storage and why. So, stay tuned for that. Remember, these are rough estimates. Adjust according to your personal needs. Now that we've considered our calorie needs, let's discuss what food to buy. We'll start with grains. You'll need around 300 pounds of white rice, 50 pounds of oats, and 150 pounds of pasta. These are not only affordable, but they are also versatile and have a long shelf life. Next up, we have beans and legumes. I recommend 120 pounds of pinto beans, 30 pounds of red kidney beans, and 50 pounds of lentils. These are high in protein and can be stored for a long time without spoiling. Moving on to oils and fats, you should aim to have about 10 quarts of olive oil or vegetable oil. These are an essential part of cooking and provide a great source of energy. For sweeteners, go for 60 pounds of white sugar and 10 pounds of brown sugar. They add variety to your meals and can be used in multiple recipes. Don't forget about milk, 20 pounds of powdered milk, to be precise. It has a long shelf life and is a good source of calcium. Salt is another essential item. 8 pounds should do the trick. It's not just for seasoning. Salt is also important for preserving food. Canned goods are a great addition to your pantry. Aim for 90 cans of mixed vegetables and fruits. They're convenient and have a long shelf life. Last but not least, spices and condiments. The basics like salt, pepper, garlic powder, oregano, and ketchup can make a world of difference in your meals. They're essential for making your food more palatable. The goal here is to have a food supply that's not only long-lasting, but also provides a balanced diet. You want a variety of foods that will keep you healthy and satisfied. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. These food items I've mentioned are just the basics. Feel free to add other foods that you enjoy and that meet your dietary needs. Remember, the key is to store what you eat and eat what you store. One more thing to note is that these quantities are for a single person for 1 year. If you're prepping for more people or for a longer period, adjust the quantities accordingly. So there you have it. These are the foods you should be buying for your long-term food storage. They're affordable, they're long-lasting, and they provide a wide variety of meal options. Remember, building your food storage is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't feel like you have to buy everything all at once. Take your time, plan your purchases, and before you know it, you'll have a well-stocked pantry that can sustain you for a year or even longer. These food items are not only affordable and long-lasting, but they also provide a variety of meal options. Once you've gathered your food supply, the next step is to store it properly. And the key to long-term storage is creating an environment that's not hospitable to bacteria, insects, and rodents. So, let's talk about the ideal conditions for your food storage. First off, you'll want to find a cool, dry, and dark place to store your food. The temperature should ideally be below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat can degrade the quality of your food over time, and moisture can lead to mold growth. Darkness prevents light-induced degradation, especially for food stored in clear containers. Now that we've established the ideal conditions, let's talk about the containers. You'll want to use airtight containers to prevent exposure to air and moisture. Good options are food-grade buckets, mylar bags, and mason jars. These containers protect your food from the elements and pests. Oxygen absorbers are another crucial element of your food storage. When placed in your airtight container, they remove oxygen, creating an environment that's inhospitable to bacteria and insects. Oxygen absorbers come in different sizes, and the one you choose depends on the volume of the container. As a rule of thumb, use a 300 cc oxygen absorber for a 1-gallon container. Now, let's talk about how to seal mylar bags, which are a popular choice for long-term food storage due to their durability and resistance to air and moisture. After filling the bag with food, iron it about 3/4 of the way closed. Then, add the oxygen absorber and seal the rest of the way with a hair flat iron. The heat from the iron and flat iron seals the bag, creating an airtight environment. Labeling your containers is also essential. On the label, include the food item, the date it was added to your storage, and its weight. This will help you keep track of your inventory and ensure that you're rotating your food supply effectively. Inventory management is another important aspect of food storage. Consider creating a spreadsheet to keep track of what you have, when you added it, and when it should be used by. This will make it easier to rotate your food and ensure nothing goes to waste. Vacuum sealing is not necessary for long-term food storage, but it can be done if you wish. It removes air from the container, which can help to preserve the quality of the food. However, it's not a substitute for using oxygen absorbers in your containers. A week after sealing your mylar bags, it's good practice to check them to make sure the oxygen absorbers have done their job. The bags should be compact and hard to the touch, indicating that the oxygen has been removed. If you're concerned about insects, consider freezing your food for about 2 days before storing it. This can kill any larvae that might be present. Alternatively, you could use food-grade diatomaceous earth, a natural insecticide. Final tip, store your mylar bags in hard containers like plastic totes or metal bins. These provide an additional layer of protection against rodents and pets. The process of storing food for the long term can seem daunting, but with these steps, you'll have a well-stocked pantry that can sustain you for a year or even longer. Remember, the goal of food storage is to have a reliable supply of safe, nutritious food. And that's exactly what you'll have if you store your food properly. Proper storage is crucial to ensure your food supply remains safe and edible for years to come. As we wrap up, remember that building a food storage is a process. It's not something you do overnight. It's a journey that requires careful planning, purchasing, and storing. But don't let this overwhelm you. It's perfectly fine to take your time and gradually build up your pantry. Today, we've covered quite a lot. We discussed the 2 types of pantries, the working pantry and the long-term pantry, both equally important, serving their unique purposes. We talked about the importance of calorie considerations and how factors like gender, age, weight, and activity level can affect your daily calorie needs. The goal is to aim for around 2,200 calories per person per day. We dove into the specifics of what food to buy, focusing on grains, beans and legumes, oils and fats, sweeteners, milk, salt, canned goods, and even spices and condiments. All these food items are not only affordable and versatile, but also have a long shelf life, making them ideal for long-term storage. We also explored various food storage methods and locations. Remember, it's crucial to store your food in a cool, dry, and dark place, ideally below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Use airtight containers like food-grade buckets, mylar bags, or mason jars with oxygen absorbers to protect your food from rodents and other pests. Don't forget to label each container with the food item, date it was added, and weight. We went over some additional tips like using a hair flat iron to seal mylar bags, storing unused oxygen absorbers in a sealed mason jar with rice, and creating a spreadsheet for easy inventory management. Take these insights, apply them, and start building your food storage. Remember, it's not a race. Move at your own pace, and before you know it, you'll have a well-stocked pantry that can sustain you for a year, and even up to 25 years when properly stored. Remember, the most important thing is to take action. Start building your food storage today.